For most people, the thought about where electricity comes from does not cross their minds very often. Many people are not even aware of how we get our lights to switch on and off at our convenience, because for most people, it does not affect them the same way it affects people living in the Appalachia area of the United States. More than half of our electricity in the United States comes from coal. Coal mining has been going on in America since the turn of the 20th century, but traditional coal mining is no longer used. Mountaintop removal, a form of strip mining, has been going on since 1970s. Mountaintop removal is a process where coal companies in Appalachian mountains, such as West Virginia, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Virginia, use heavy machinery to take out individual mountains of existence, in whole or in parts, seeking the coal that lies beneath. There is a great amount of controversy as to whether or not our country should be practicing this type of mining. Environmentalists, people from Appalachia, coal companies, and our government are all having conflicting views as to whether or not attaining coal this way is dangerous or simply the logical way to provide electricity to the United States. Central Appalachia is one of America's poorest regions and provides much of the country's coal. Most locals who live around mountaintop removal sites already have a hard-working life and get by on little money since the region suffers economically. This did not always affect the locals in the area because they were thankful to live in such a beautiful part of the country where everybody lived simply. Coal companies want us to believe that mountaintop removal sites provide job opportunities and bring money into the region. The real fact of the matter is, coal companies love mountaintop removal because it requires a small amount of employees working a lot of heavy machinery to destroy an entire mountain. Before 1970s, the companies had to hire thousands of more men to go down into the mines and bring up the coal. Jobs for coal miners peaked in 1940 at over 130,000 people employed, producing approximately 130,000 short tons of coal annually. By 1997, less than 20,000 people were being paid by coal companies to produce over 180,000 short tons of coal annually, and the number of employees has continued to drop since then, while coal production continues to rise. Environmentalist Robert F. Kennedy Jr. debated with CEO of Massey Energy Coal Company, Don Blankenship, about the mountaintop removal controversy, and Kennedy made a point by saying, "Why is it that the state with the richest natural resources in America is the second poorest state in America?" Appalachian people's homes and beautiful environment of mountainous forests is in many times all they have, and they hold this very near and dear to their hearts. Larry Gibson was interviewed about living near a mountaintop removal site. He stated, "For me, it's this mountain and the memories I had here as a kid. It was a hard life, but here I was equal to everybody. I didn't know I was poor until I went to the city and people told me I was. Here I was rich." Larry has 50 acres of land sitting on top of coal. He could be a millionaire if he sold it to the coal companies, but he refuses, even though it's dangerous to live close to the strip mining sites. Unfortunately, more and more children are growing up with the views of deep, dead holes where tree-covered mountains used to live. As sad as this is more than just a loss of scenic views and job opportunities for the locals. These gray plateau-looking mountains are not only ugly and unhelpful for the poor region's economy, they're tremendously dangerous for our environment and the thousands of people who are being affected by the explosions. The coal industry will tell those who ask about the environmental concerns of mountaintop removal that damages are reversible. Here is a video explaining the benefits they believe come out of the land from mountaintop removal. Environmentalists disagree with the benefits this video claims come from mountaintop removal. The 2003 Environmental Protection Agency report states that studies found that the natural return of forests to mountaintop mines with grass and wildlife post-mining land occurs slowly, and full reforestation across a large mine site may not occur for hundreds of years. According to the EPA, mountaintop removal is one of the most environmentally devastating practices allowed under the U.S. law. On top of an estimated 800 square feet of mountains and forests being destroyed, over 1,000 miles of healthy streams are completely buried by mountaintop removal, and thousands more have been damaged and contaminated, affecting drinking water for thousands of animals and humans. Streams and creeks in mountaintop removal areas no longer support all the wildlife that used to flourish around the water. One EPA study found that mayflies had largely disappeared from waterways downstream from mountaintop mining sites. It may seem like a small loss, but it is a critical break in the food chain that will eventually affect other animals. The hundreds of miles of contaminated streams in Appalachia is killing wildlife. And although not everyone is concerned about the life of animals, everyone should be concerned with the fact that not only is it the animals suffering, mountaintop removal is affecting humans, children especially. An Eastern Kentucky University study found that children in Letcher County, Kentucky, suffer from alarmingly high rates of nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, and shortness of breath. These are symptoms of something called blue baby syndrome that can be traced back to sedimentation and dissolved minerals that have drained from the mine sites into nearby streams. These scary symptoms have long-term effects: kidney and spleen failure, lung damage, and cancer of the digestive tract. Marsh Fork Elementary School in West Virginia has a similar story. Writer Eric Reese wrote about how one grandfather was shocked to find out how sick the kids were. He said, 15 to 20 students went home sick every day because of asthma problems, severe headaches, blisters in their mouths, constant runny noses, and nausea. 80% of parents said their children had come home with a variety of illnesses. The school sits almost directly beneath a Massey Energy subsidiary processing plant where they wash and store the coal, causing coal dust to cover the children's school playground. This is a tragedy for these families who have to live in the area that is so beautiful, yet increasingly becoming uglier and more dangerous for their family. Americans need to be aware of the hardships that are going on in this area of the country. How is it that our government is allowing this to happen to our beautiful environment and putting American citizens in danger? One would think that with so many consequences, an alternative energy source would be researched and put into action as soon as possible. But our government does not seem to be any rush to stop the coal as the main provider of our electricity. People should not be okay with the fact that this is happening in our country, and the more people that find out about this, the more people will start demanding a change and demand for research to find an alternative method. There are already scientists that claim that natural gas is a possibility, but we need to take those considerations seriously and make a change. To me, it's absolutely unbelievable that this is a legal practice. These scars are not going to heal, but only get deeper, which is why if we do not do something about this now, the consequences will continue to get worse for more land and people. Our electricity is being provided at the expense of others. If knowing that nature and wildlife are dying isn't making you question mountaintop removal, I sure hope knowing that it's harming the health and even killing many American citizens makes one seriously question this practice.